Good afternoon, everyone. This is Carolina Weather Authority meteorologist Joshua Nagelberg. Hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we are in winter mode here in the Carolinas. We're hoping for snow, and we're going to see it in the mountains for sure here in the next couple of days. Going to be a little bit later than that, though, for the Piedmont areas on eastward. But if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, we would appreciate that, of course. Appreciate your support. Those of you that have been members and subscribers, we thank you for coming. And I know we've had a lot of tropical videos, but now we're seeing the tropics mostly shutting down for the most part. Maybe one or two named storms still to come, but nothing that should affect the United States or Mexico or even the Caribbean. So that's some good news for us here. But we've got the potential for another November tornado outbreak. Those of you in the southern United States know that winter tornadoes are certainly possible. And this is sort of our first of what could be a few storms that could make that happen. We actually did see some tornadoes in the Dallas area a few days back with the storm that preceded this one, and an EF2 that touched down in Arlington, Texas, a few miles from AT&T Stadium there, caused some damage. Now, Texas is not going to be affected by this system, and Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, we may have an isolated tornado the rest of today, but I think the best chance is going to be later on this evening and overnight in two zones. One will be here in the eastern Gulf region, and the other will be across the eastern Carolinas, and that expands northward tomorrow from eastern North Carolina into the Delmarva Peninsula. You'll see on the Storm Prediction Center forecast, those two areas are kind of highlighted, and I think mainly in here for tornadoes overnight, but also we'll have a kind of a local area of maybe some severe weather affecting places like Myrtle Beach and Wilmington and Jacksonville and Greenville, North Carolina. And then that expands tomorrow on up a little bit farther north. And I think this slight risk area could find its way into Maryland, maybe even into Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. We'll have to keep an eye on that, as well as central Florida. Here's the current satellite image. You can see our storm center and a lot of clouds now spreading eastward. Really, New England's the only spot that is still enjoying a lot of sunshine, but clouds will be filling in before the end of the day there as well. And a lot of warm weather down in Florida, so we definitely have a battleground here along this front between much cooler weather in parts of Texas and some warm and humid weather over the Gulf Coast states, and that's going to spread northward into the Carolinas. So it's actually kind of comfy out there here in Raleigh, low 60s. Overnight tonight, we may be turning off the heat and opening up the windows, and maybe some of you at the coast will have the air conditioner running because a lot of moisture is headed northward ahead of this storm system. The water vapor image shows our two upper level features. This is the upper low over the Red River Valley here of Texas and Oklahoma, and this is the upper level trough that is expanding southward very quickly, and that's going to catch this one. The two will phase, and that will lead to significant snowfall along into the west of the mountains here later on tomorrow and into tomorrow night. East of the mountains, though, we aren't going to see that same ordeal. It's going to be cold, it'll be windy, but it will not be moist enough to support any significant precipitation. And the reason why is that as these two features line up, they're going to get stuck into this region in here and then expand northward and lift out. Rather than coming eastward and cooling the column of air enough that rain can change to snow, we're just going to see downsloping and things will dry out. Here's the current radar as of this afternoon, all the heavy rain over the Gulf Coast states. We also have a second area of rain, though, that's blossoming in the Charleston, South Carolina region and now across the Midlands. And this is actually blowing up a little bit quicker than models showed. So rain could be spreading into places like Fayetteville, Charlotte, and Raleigh not too long after it gets dark tonight. As beautiful as it is out there now, though I know the clouds are spreading in, it very well could get very moist quickly and start raining in just a few hours. GFS model does kind of show that a little bit here. Shows rain quickly expanding northward, and you can see our low pressure system blows up here from 1,007 millibars this evening near Mobile Bay to 990 millibars near Syracuse by the end of the day tomorrow. So literally a 24-hour stretch where the pressure drops about 20 millibars. And you can see the upper level feature back in Tennessee. If this were here, we'd be talking snow tomorrow night, but it is too far to the west for that to occur. And I know our models a few days ago showed a little back and forth with that. Now they're keeping the cutoff low buried around the Tennessee Valley. So the snow is much more likely in Atlanta and Huntsville, Alabama than it is in Charlotte or Rock Hill or Columbia, unfortunately for us snow lovers. It's going to snow in November in Georgia, but it's not going to snow in Raleigh. Sorry, folks. But definitely the severe weather is what we're looking at here. And from Weather Bell Premium, the commercial side of things, we do want to show you guys a significant tornado parameter. This is an index that's formulated to show low-level wind shear and helicity. And once we start looking at numbers above 2, we have the threat for enhanced areas of rotation and maybe some isolated tornadoes. There's two areas I'm watching for you guys, one across Georgia and Florida, and the other expanding northward across the eastern Carolinas. And this would be during the overnight hours tonight and into the morning hours tomorrow. And you can see it kind of expands northward back towards Raleigh and even close to Greensboro in the morning tomorrow around 9 a.m. So don't be shocked if we had a tornado watch out for many of these areas, as there is certainly a threat for some spin-ups. But the one thing I want you guys to be ready for is overnight tonight, the threat for locally damaging thunderstorms. So have your NOAA weather radios handy and have your phones on charge in case you do lose power. There will probably be some tornado warnings and certainly severe thunderstorm warnings. One is kind of a dirty, kind of convective mode of supercells, and the other is from a squall line, which will catch up to this, and they'll kind of coalesce tomorrow morning into an area of enhancement of locally severe weather. The radar does indicate kind of those waves of heavy rain coming in. This is tonight, and then tomorrow morning across parts of the southeast here, we're looking at very heavy rain, but it's very quickly advancing, so not everybody's going to have that severe weather threat or very heavy rain, which is why this area of predictability is not a highly defined area. It's very uncertain, but we definitely think if there are tornadoes, they'll probably be near the coastal region tomorrow morning, and then moving northward across the mid-Atlantic region and the Delmarva as the day wears on. Dew points they rise very quickly. Look at this, climbing from the 40s to the 60s this evening, and then overnight they're in the mid-60s, but then they're dropping quickly. So Charlotte starts the day with a dew point near 60 tomorrow, and then ends the day with a dew point in the low to mid-30s. That'll be quite a shock for those of you heading outside. And by the way, Raleigh will start to cool off in the afternoon, but more so in the evening, and then at the coastline later on tomorrow evening, and then by Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon, everybody's got dew points in the teens and 20s. And that is going to be some of the driest air that we've had so far this cool season. Wind potential as well increases quickly late tonight over the southeastern coast, and then tomorrow morning into the mid-Atlantic, and then tomorrow afternoon up into New England. We could have wind gusts over 50 miles per hour. That could cause some power outages, by the way. And then 60 to 70 miles per hour here across coastal New England and Long Island will likely cause some wind damage to the coastal regions there as well. And back in the mountains, we could have wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour as that cold air pours in the afternoon tomorrow. Speaking of the cold air, let's look at the snow. You'll see some light snow coming down to the Great Lakes region overnight, but then starts to pick up in Indiana and Ohio tomorrow morning, Kentucky and Tennessee by mid-morning, and then into the mountains probably right around lunchtime, the Smokies, and then the afternoon across the rest of the ski areas of North Carolina and South Carolina as well by the evening. Even Atlanta and Birmingham could see some light amounts of snow from flurries that come down, but we're not going to see it in Charlotte or Richmond or Philadelphia, unfortunately. Mainly looking at this being a major snowfall for the mountains, an elevation-dependent storm, but also for the snowbelt part of Ohio. We could see 6 to 12 inches of snow in here, maybe more, also off the Georgian Bay and up into parts of eastern Canada. So let's catch our breath. Once again, though, we're looking at this threat for tornadoes later on this evening, especially in here, and then overnight in here, and then tomorrow up in here. And we'll have more for you guys on our Facebook page on Carolina Weather Authority, and articles as well, carolinawxauthority.com, talking about that threat for severe weather, as well as what's to follow this storm system into next week. All right, well, thanks for joining me. If you could hit the subscribe channel, like our page, leave some comments. We'll try to answer them. All I ask is that you try to keep everything on topic here, and we'll do our best to answer for you guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Be safe, and God bless.